Okay, nothing much. My name is Jawad Bashorun. I'm a very conservative person. Let me put it that way.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
I love teaching. I'm a teacher, and I love technology. I like to build technology. So I see myself as a research engineer, meaning I do a lot of science work. Research. Do my own personal research, come with mathematical principles, but at the same time build something with it. And the whole point of building is to research, engineer, to teach, then publish. So that's my workflow. Revolves around what I do because I love what I do, and I see what I do. It's very difficult for me to differentiate myself as an individual from what I do because of the passion, because of the love, between what I do and who I am. So yeah. I'm Nigerian, so maybe if that matters. I don't really believe in countries, because I see countries as identifying yourself by some other people's label due to some geopolitical greed that these people have and have come together to create this identity that was born out of geopolitical greed. So I do sometimes identify myself as a Nigerian, but if I just see myself as a human being, and I love to stand for justice, integrity, honor, before any other thing. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. All right, can you tell me a little bit about your infancy? Where were you born and where you grew up? That is very important for us because we are interested in your story.
Okay. I was born in Nigeria. I was born in Lagos. I was born in Lagos Island. Isariko. I was born in yeah. So that's like going to the pinpoint. I spent my early age in a very small town in Lagos Island called Okekpoko. And I wasn't born with silver spoon and all these things. If you know what Ekwekwekwe is, then you understand that this is a very moderate, a very humble beginning. I have about I have four sisters. I'm the only man. I'm the only guy among four sisters. And back then, we all live in this one bedroom apartment, and so that was my beginning.
Now, when you were growing up there, is there anything that influenced you of the kind of shape your image or where you want to go, how you want to define yourself in the world? Can you say
100%.
anything about that?
100%. Although I would not say that then I really knew what I was doing or what I was saying, you know, but it turned out that who I am today is very, very much related to some events that happened when I started my life as early as 5 or 6. And the reason why I could remember my life at 5 or 6 was because I had an accident, and the accident required me to stay at home for like a year. I got bumped, and I had to stay at home to get. I had to go stay in the hospital basically to get medication for like up to a year. And during this time, my friends in school, some of my friends and teachers in school come to visit me, and sometimes we do this child's play in which like acting play, and I play on the board, like I play the teacher in the room. So I take the board and then start to teach ABC and 1+1 and those sort of things. I can remember this thing clearly, and then that is how I gradually try and start to really like teaching. You know, as in teaching. I think that is how I actually started teaching. To be honest with you, and the other side of the story is I had a gun. My mom. She's still a trader, but then she was a trader then too. She sell toys, and I used to help her. I take her toys and then repair, and and then she takes the toys back, package it, and then put it on the market. So during that time, that was how I started to get introduced really into technology, start to build. I was a little kid in the marketplace, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Basically, my mom eyed me under a store, and then anything that spoils, she gives it to me. I repair, package it back, and then she put it back on the marketplace and then sell. So for me, that is how I got introduced into wanting to become an inventor, wanting to build things, wanting to repair things, wanting to build toys, most especially. So these things sort of like form the foundation of who I am today.
Thank you so much for
So
that.
that's why I said,
Yeah.
that's why I said it is difficult for me to separate who I am from what I do.
In fact, I don't think you even need to, because I think a human being is a very complex entity, that it's not just a single experience. Our experiences are multiverse, and that is connected to a lot of things. I like what you were saying before, that you don't believe so much in nations. You believe in humanity. We are human, and we should
100%.
be able, we should be free to live wherever we want to live, and we should be able to see ourselves beyond just the location where we were born and probably grew up.
100%. 100%.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Say something there if you like.
I think the nations, anyone that identify by themselves by nation, I think, they're still, I'm gonna use this word colonize. Colonize is not really the word. It's like you're picking up an identity that's made up. Nothing in nature. There is no boundary in nature. There is no geolocational boundary in nature. It's a continuous. There is no line that nature made. These lines were actually that divide different countries were actually made by people because of their own greed for power and owning, dominance in this region of space. And I think I came to this world, Earth, to explore and understand Earth and to do some other things which I don't know yet. But I see Earth as Earth. I see this universe as the universe. So I don't. I try as much as possible not to define myself by the laws of man, but instead by the laws of God, by the laws of the universe. So, I'm also affected by the laws of man. I'm not saying I'm not affected, but I respect the natural laws as a physicist, as a mathematician, more than social laws. In as much as I believe social laws are important to keep everybody insane, to keep everybody sane, and keep order. But I think we also need to question our laws and our belief systems too. Introspect, basically.
Absolutely. Because if we don't question it, if we are satisfied with the way it is, then it will always remain the way it is, and that is against nature. Because nature didn't design things to remain exactly the way it is. It was supposed to evolve. It was supposed to grow up. Otherwise, if nature has planned that as a human being you were going to be born and remain the way you are, you will remain a baby until you die. But we can see now
100%.
that that is not the way it is. We transform from just a little drop of sperm, and then we become an egg. From there, if you look at a child that is growing up in the womb of a woman, it looks like a little fish. Then from there, it begins to grow and grow until it becomes a human being. If we were to really take a picture of that and expand on it, it looks like an animal that have a tail after it become a fish, and then he is born. When it's born, it's still very little, very tiny. If we were left alone at our birth, we will probably die. We will not survive. Other animals can survive better than us. Of course, this is also part of our evolution, because that is how we have evolved as a species. So yes, we are really like a really complex as entity, like I said before. All right, now let's go back again. I'm interested in your touch with technology, because that is probably going to dominate the rest of the conversation. I'm trying to understand what has been your first impression of technology, because now, okay, we are both coming from Nigeria. We understand that so small emphasis is placed on technology, even though we are supposed to be a key player in technology. By technology, I mean the
100%.
modern technology, the tools that we use today, internet and the rest of it. These are what actually power the economy of today. A good example will simply be
100%.
a case in sight, the war that is taking place between Russia and Ukraine. That is a high play of technology that is taking place there. And that also explains to us that the economy that we have today is tied to technology. The war that we are going to
100%.
fight, if we are going to have a third world war, is going to be fought at the level of technology. So a country that want to have any significance in this world that doesn't invest something in its technological build-up is already lost his battle. So tell me your first impression about technology.
Ah, okay. Based on what you said, you actually gave me tools on how to answer this question. And I'll say technology is a tool. It has no emotions, and that's just what it is. It's literally just a tool. And it can be used for good, and it can also be used for bad. So I see technology with no emotion, meaning that it does depend on the person that is using it. And also, technology is something that has always been part of human, and it has technology for me is something that have helped humans to be the dominant species on Earth. If there was no technology, I don't think humans would be where we are today. Shark may probably be okay. Shark don't live on land, but like other animals that have iron muscles and so on could actually dominate. But let me tell you what I mean. In this case, you know, modern technology, that's a different story. But technology is basically using anything outside of your body to add to for your own survival. The ability for you to use a knowledge and then use something outside of your own body, carve it to your own taste as a tool for your own survival. That thing is a technology. Let me give you an example. You can literally use a stone as a technology, and we had the Stone Age, and we have the age in which people use the spear. Then that was the standard of the technology. That was what they used for the survival to go and hunt and those sort of things. But modern technology has gone from technology sorry, technology have gone from the stone form of technology to electronics, to using electron as the means, from using a stone, a state of matter, into using electrons and other forms, and using electromagnetic wave. A lot of what we're doing today, software is basically electromagnetism. Everything is software. In computing, it's basically manipulation of electromagnetism. Now we sort of like we have become like masters of electromagnetism. A lot of what we're doing is electricity and magnetism, and then manipulating that and using that for our own survival. And even further, if you go into the hardware aspect, when it comes to the weapons and those sort of things, um, like World War II was also fought with technology too, because then they had planes, they had guns, they had the nuclear weapons and those sort of things. And moving forward, in this generation, I'm actually thinking, with all due respect, I don't want to support any conspiracy theory, but moving forward, I think one of the main form of technology that if you're going to have World War III, as you said, is going to be software, definitely. Through hacking on the internet and getting directly into people's mind. Because right now, I think a lot of us are basically working cyborgs. If you actually really, really, really look deep into things, I could come into details on that later, but we're literally like working cyborgs. And then the other side is bioweapons. Like if anything, we've advanced so much in manipulation of biotechnology that is a quiet, things that are quiet are usually more dangerous. Nuclear weapons make a lot of noise, and like the thermal wars and things like that, they make a lot of noise, and you can literally see the physical weapons do the damage. But if things are quiet, that you don't see things happening, you can literally lie that is natural. Without you, you can literally say it's natural. You can, like you probably would not even know that there is a war already going on. Like the cyber warfare that happened a couple of months to weeks to months ago. And a lot of people didn't know that there was cyber warfare going on. And and some people postulate that the coronavirus and things is also a bioweapon or things like that. So this is the dark side of technologies for me. There's also the really good side of technology because it has made life easy for us. We can work from home. It has connected you're in Italy, I'm in Nigeria, and now I could be in contact with you and talk to you. And I think technology has really, really helped me as a person. Like software and internet technology have helped me a lot because my life would have, I think my life might have gone south, meaning gone into the wrong direction if I didn't have access to the internet or a way to still get connected to some of my friends in the UK or people to support around the world. Because relocation from one country to another is not easy, especially when you have to relocate in your um, in your in your later age. After graduation, you don't need to go to school, you don't need to go to university or this sort of thing, and then you're not coming back to a country like Nigeria or like to Africa, and you don't know anyone, and those sort of things. So technology have helped to stay in contact with the people that you knew. Technology have helped in reaching out to for help, reaching out, to people. And technology, most especially for me, has helped to navigate new environment. Most especially. So there is a good and the dark and the bad side of technology in general. And if you look at kids, toys are literally a form of technology. They're basically, like I don't know, like most of the technology we have right now, they're basically adult toys. But toys themselves, they're like a mini form of technology because they contain, for example, a toy car. The toy car contains the same type of some of the same type of devices that some of the same type of components that you have in the actual car, but on a mini, very small, like a prototype of it. For example, the rotors. So you have the rotor for propagating the car forward, the toy car forward, and you also have the sort of like motors too. The rotors too in a big car. In the alternators, and that you can literally see how technology can also be used for fun. To provide entertainment for the young generations and for the older generations as well. So there's so many different aspects of technology as a tool for any sector of the world. Like it's literally a tool for anything. Like you can be a media person, a politician, or a cleaner, but you're still going to use technology. You're still going to find a way technology is going to benefit you wherever you are. So it's just a tool. It does depend on who is using it.
Thank you so much for that. I like that because if we define it as a tool now, then people should not be afraid to use it. I remember that when this version of technology was beginning to crop out all over the places, there was fear for many people. Until today, there's still speculation. These are controlled by other people. You shouldn't touch it. It's dangerous and things like that. But it is not true. It is like water. If you take the right amount of water that you need to take, your body will work well. It will be alive.
Exactly.
In fact, up to 70% of your body, I think even more, is actually water. But that water can also kill you. If you jump into a pool of water, I don't know, ocean, river, or even a basin of water, whatever, you are going to die. It is not the water that kills you. Because if the water that kills you, it means the water that makes you alive. So the water have no responsibility in it. It is you. You are supposed to know. Another thing is maybe, for example, electricity, the electric current. Electric current is neutral. That's what I'm talking about here. If you know how to use the electricity, it will give you light. It allows you to do everything you are doing. That is what I'm doing. That is what I'm using now. That is what you are using.
100%.
But try to plug your hand on it. You are going to burn to ashes. So
100%.
I think what we should do is to learn to take responsibility for ourselves, for our action. We don't need to blame it on other people or the tools or the instrument or the technology that we have invented. It is there for us to help us live better. But if we are too ignorant now, not be able to manipulate the technology, then the technology can manipulate us, and then that is the end of us.
100%. I think literally, I like what you just said. It's like if you're trying to be ignorant of technology, you're going to be the one to face the bad side of technology, because the rest of the world is not going to say, because you're ignorant, we're not going to use it. Everybody else is going to use it, move forward, and I think this is what I think. I think a country's well-being too is dependent on the other country's productivity. So if productively you guys are lacking behind and the other countries are moving forward, and they're doing a lot of good things, you're going to most likely end up being the one to purchase. If you have two countries, one country does not adopt technology, the other country adopt technology, their productivity is going to increase, because technology actually increases productivity of a country in general. So if these countries' productivity increase, it's going to get to a point where that their productivity in country that adopt technology exceed massively that of those that didn't adopt technology. So it's going to, and when it comes to the needs, the country that doesn't have technology is going to end up having to trade and buy things and buy produce and buy their need of the country that adopt technology. So they're going to keep on crashing their own local economy. So if you have to adopt technology if you really want your economy as a whole to stay afloat. And the other thing you said too is, I think what we not I think there's nothing to be scared for me. And it's not technology is not what I think we're scared of. I think we're scared of some human nature, not these are the other things. Technology can be dangerous, like electricity, putting your hand there, and then but the people designing these technologies are putting this into consideration before they launch it out there in the marketplace. Before you may make a wire, you have to understand, as scientists, we have to understand everything, the properties of electricity, the properties of medium that carries electricity and medium that does not conduct electricity, like rubbers. We have to understand how rubber work, insulators work, and based on this understanding, we design the copper wire plus the coat around it, the insulator around the copper wire, so that it's safe. So there have to be safety measures put in place when you're engineering these things. Scientists are not stupid. They think about all of these things before they put it out there to make sure that things are safe. But we can't guarantee 100% safety, because people can still do things. But our aim as scientists and engineers is to ensure that it does what it need to do, and it is safe. But what I think put more threat is how humans use this technology. It is not technology that is going on to bomb people. It is people that is using technology to bomb people. So
That's so true.
so I'm not going to come here and start to blame technology for some of the bad things that's going on in the world at all. No, I'm going to say, okay, let's go back as human beings and say, okay, what can we, from a social perspective, like what is wrong with us? Like what is it that we're failing to identify and then tackle that has caused some of the evil things and atrocities that's going on around the world. And for me, this is a personal opinion. This is a very, 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 very personal opinion. I was atheist for a long time. I was an atheist for a long time. And I'm coming to a self-conclusion that we are having a society, when it comes to especially the Western world, that is not really built on spirituality. And any system that the foundation is not actually on spirituality is a system that's most likely going to end up creating a lot of narcissists and a lot of robots in human being that just do anything rather than going by some certain type of moral standard. So I think some of the thing for me when it comes to technology is tells at some point in technology for me, it actually tells you to go back to spirituality.
All right.
For me, because
That,
I've researched a lot. I've worked. I'm nobody. Don't get it wrong, but I see myself as someone that my life situation have put me in my life, and things. Some of the events that happened in my life put me in a position where I spend morning to night every single day. Morning to night, even sometimes 4 times. Sleep 4 hours a day, 2 hours a day, also because I love what I do. And researching working as a scientist, researching on technology, researching, and working on not just any form of technology like making an app, but actually working on really cutting edge stuff in, for example, quantum information science. And the more I do this, and the more I even question what the cause of my actions are, because at some point in technology, I'm going to be honest with you, building technology and having access to your laptop gives you this sort of like, I'm sure tech people know, like some of these really top entrepreneurs know this, God feeling. I'm going to like think about it this way so that you understand how technology is like. You have a laptop in front of you, you can write this code, and the code that you can write, can do anything. And the code that you're writing, based on what you allow, is basically going to program the other human being using that laptop. You know this. You're very, very aware that you're not only programming a machine, you're also programming a set of people. It's basically a basic law of psychology here, in the sense that if I only allow you a screen that I have two options, A or B, you will only be able to pick between A and B. That is becomes your universe. I mean, a universe of actions or items that you can experience. And based on this universe of actions and options that you can experience, it does shapes your mind as well. I'm sure you don't even need to go look at social media. Look at the way people are behaving. With all due respect to these people too. Look at where the society is when it comes to social media. It has everything to do with the algorithms that you have on the back end. In Facebook, based on what an algorithm promotes, the society, human adjust their behavior to win that algorithm. So if that algorithm, for example, TikTok, promotes this certain type of behavior, humans start to behave, their psychology to adjust in such a way that it wins on this hierarchy, and the algorithm creates that hierarchy. So as that is as a user, but as a programmer or as an engineer, make software, or data science, with data science, AI, this sort of thing, you see these things. Not everybody. I don't know. I don't think it's everybody. Some people are still even with the program, but if you're actually really thinking that in depth of what you're doing, and I remember when I first started actually writing software programs properly, and how I felt at the beginning, it felt like I don't see programming as just a job. No, I see I'm a creative. I'm a creative. I see it as an opportunity for me to come and write a story. So when I'm writing programming, I'm basically writing a language. I'm basically writing a novel in a particular language that the computer understands, and then the computer is meant to bring that novel to life. Okay, so it's like writing a book. But the difference between a book that you've programmed, and an actual book is that book can come to life. The program can actually come to life, that people can interact with it, and it can respond to people. Now,
All right. Yeah. Go.
Now, when I came on programming and I started writing things, what I was seeing in the machine is like the whole world is entire. A large majority of the world have access to a phone. So literally, what you're writing is basically connected to people with their phone, and their phone is connected to their brain. That's why I said that we are all, a lot of people, we don't know it yet. We are basically working cyborgs. And tech people, if you're thinking, you will see this 100%. So now, my field of thought. Okay, yeah. Now, the point I was trying to get to here is that and the more you study this, the more you go into this, the more, if you're not careful, there's when you see the kind of power that comes with building tech, getting adoption, and being able to create option and the universe, and therefore shape people's psychology. If it's not coming from a good place in your heart, that is going to transform into every part of your work. I'm not sure if you understand what I mean here.
I'm getting it. Yeah.
If it's not coming from a good source, from a good core, then the way you had the kind of advantages that you have being able to program and being able to do this and understand what is going on is going to come out in there. So if I was atheist, I told you I was atheist, but I don't think I was immoral. Yeah, I was atheist. I wanted to make money, but I wasn't money driven. Don't get it wrong. I wanted to make money because I needed to. Uh, um, but I got to the point where where my questions, I didn't believe in God. I believe, sorry, I believe, you know, I still do believe there is behavior in the universe. So my question was more scientific driven. Let me put it this way. It was more of like I was trying to understand the universe because I'm a scientist, but I see everything as experiment. Meaning that when I go online and do whatever it is I put into my machine, whether program, whether social, I see it as an experiment that I can get feedback on and understand what is going on in the universe. And that need to come, and it gets to the point where you can actually become a robot yourself without thinking about the morals. The morals without the morals in what you're doing and the sort of things in what you're doing, and you just want to like get ahead in life. Just want to like do whatever it takes to get ahead in life. you know. But as time goes on, as a person, that was when I graduated university. Before I graduated university, I was working on some mathematics, especially the lack of the Lagrange Euler equation. I remember that I come to a point that there is no way that there is no God. In fact, like, yeah. The world could make sense mathematically without the need of God in it. But if you look at some other part of the equation, especially in quantum, then there is you can't do without God. Literally cannot do without God. So I became more of a agnostic, but not spiritually inclined. So not religiously inclined. I'm spiritually agnostic. So I didn't pick. Sorry, I'm religiously agnostic, but I believe in God. So I don't pick any religion because I'm interested in the creator of the universe. I'm not interested in following an organization. I just want to know the universe. I just want to form a relationship with the creator of the universe. And part of the reason why I study at university too, I study physics at university because I thought that if the best way for me to understand God or know God is for me to study the work of the painter. The best way for you to know a painter and understand the mind of the painter and get close to the painter is to understand the paintings. If you study the paintings very well, you can see where some of the minds of the painter. So, and the more I study physics, which is the study of the physical world that we live in, and the more I feel like, okay, I see the beauty. I see the beauty of the universe. Let me put it that way. The beauty of aligning mathematics and reality together, and then being able to live on top of that. I mean, like guide your life based on your understanding of how the universe works. And if you understand some of how the universe works, then you start to question God. You start to basically, for me, I got closer to God. Let me just put it that way because I'm more interested in God than anything. Let me just put it down. I'm like literally more interested in God than anything. And it doesn't mean I'm religious, by the way. It doesn't mean I'm religious.
All right,
Because
that's
I want
interesting.
to find see, I don't want to because I think if I go for religion, I may miss the road because there's so many religions out there and every one of them think their own is the right one and every other one is wrong. So if and I was born in a religious family, by the way. My mom is a Christian, my dad is a Muslim, so I was able to see both the Quran and the Bible growing up. So and I became atheist when I got into my university, and I was the only one that was religious, and they saw me as a stupid one. They saw me as a stupid one because how can I be studying physics among these really, really smart people, and I'm saying that I'm religious? There's something wrong with me. So I had to, and I couldn't judge them, because there must be something wrong with me if I'm the only odd one out among really, really smart people. So let me not judge. Let me put myself in their shoes, live their life before I can say anything. Because I don't think you can judge anyone except if you actually have similar experiences as them. You cannot say, if it was me, I'm going to make this decision, except if you're actually in that position itself. So, and that's part of the reason why I had to. One of the things I said to God was like, see, forgive me for what I'm doing if I'm doing something wrong, but I need to do this to actually even strengthen my own faith, if it's true. So I literally became atheist. I literally started to look for how I can explain everything mathematically.
All
You
right.
know,
That's great.
because you know, I wanted to explain everything, and it made so much sense because this. When I say these people are smart people, okay, the world may not agree with this, but these are people from Cambridge universities and Oxford and all these top university, and I know that they're smart because I saw how they, I'm not trying to say, but this is like it. I got humbled because these are like the set of the big. When it comes to like a big pile of geniuses and you're meeting them together, it humbles you. It humbles you. It's like it gives you the perspective of like having a collection of people that are just like wow, like they all get like top class. They're all doing something with their life. Everybody's doing. This one is working on this project. That one's working on that project. It's like just a bunch of really really smart people together, and then it is now you that have two heads that believe in God. Are you kidding me? so,
Anyway, on the question of spirituality, it's something that we talk a lot here too, because we believe Africans, we are very spiritual as it is, no? But of course, we are also become very religious. Of course, they do not, religion and spirituality, they are not the same thing. It doesn't mean that if you are a spiritual person, you cannot be religious. You can also be religious and also become a highly spiritual person, no? But the two are not the same thing.
I'm not saying,
So,
I actually
so
sorry, I changed the topic. I'm not
no,
changing
no,
the
no, it's
topic,
okay.
but they're just intertwined. They're just really intertwined. Yeah. I'm sorry I went
No,
this way.
no, 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 no. It's perfect. It's perfectly fine. You know, as African, also based on our spirituality, we have come to understand, at least I am coming to understand that our vision of life, the way we see life, we don't see it like the way it is seen here in the West, that things are individual. In Africa, things are not individual. Everything is connected.
Connected. Yes, everything is
So
connected.
when you pick up any object, that object cannot exist only on its own because it exists in relation to other things.
100%.
If you take other things away, that thing that you are holding in your hand is useless. So you are perfectly right to talk about spirituality, even though we are talking about technology. Yeah.
No,
So
I think technology is going into spirituality. I'm going to say this, okay? I'm kind of worried how this will affect my own reputation out there. But I'm saying is that technology is going to it's already getting there. It's already there. But it's still going to it's going to get stronger. It's going to get really, really strong. And I want it to, because I think a lot of us are still sleeping. I think we need spirituality to have more sanity in this world, because I think things have gone. This is my personal opinion. We are less moral as a civilization.
that is fine. That is fine. It depends also what we mean. It depends on what we're actually asking for. I believe even when we are talking of technology now, it begins to get scary for some people to see what is happening in the world today. But if you ask me, I am an amateur. I don't know anything about technology, but just from my limited understanding, my limited thinking, I think we are just in the beginning of what is possible for us. Now, I interview a religious scholar, not a religious scholar, it's a scholar in spirituality and out of African religion. I just interview him. I've done 2 interviews with him. In fact, we are planning the next one. And this interview usually is a very long one. He is telling me, because now we are talking about God. What is God? How do we know what God is, even in an African context? Before Christianity, of course, even came. So at a point, he was saying, yes, everything is in existence. Everything that we can imagine is already there. It's just that we haven't been able to manifest it yet. Because now we talk of Africans that have created giant civilization. Of course, coming to zenith in Egypt. But Egypt is not where African history started. African history started way back before they got to Egypt. So if they can manage to do that, look at, for example, the great Zimbabwe, the walls of Benin, the same people that created these things. Look at the same Africans that are living in those areas today. It's as if the technology they used to develop those things are higher than the one that they have today. Because Benin, described at the time, was having street light. Okay, street light, not with the type of electricity that we have today. But just think of the concept that at the time, talking of the Benin Empire several hundreds of years ago, they could have street light. But you go to the same Benin city today, I'm not saying there are no street light, but it's the way it is really a chaos as it were, you know? This is to tell you that,
It's a Benin Empire.
yeah.
Oh, Benin Empire is today's Nigeria.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you go to the same place,
Nigeria today.
that's what I'm saying. If you go to the same Benin city today, which is, of course, that is what remains of the empire, no? The same city today that is known as Benin City, because I'm coming from Edo State, that is our main city. It looked like a chaos, you know? But how can people that were so advanced then cannot even build a sophisticated city? How can Africa that have those knowledge before cannot organize themselves anymore? How come we cannot even have a functioning system anymore? So the guy was saying everything really is possible, but if you lack the knowledge to manifest it, then nothing is going to come to you. They are going to suffer.
100%. 100%. 100%. I think what you're saying is leading to evolution of consciousness and things that affect consciousness to move forward, evolve or devolve. I think colonization, they say we should forget about it. Yeah, fine. But I think colonization have actually affected the consciousness of these people, of us in this region of space entirely, that has set us back in how we think about the world, and it has took some of the knowledge that we had away. And knowledge, is when you apply knowledge to do something, that's also a form of technology. Like, they're they're literally different forms of technology. It's not all technology that's physical. If you use, I'll give an example, psychology now. When you understand the psychology of human being, and then you start to apply that knowledge of the psychology of animals, humans, whatever it is, that application of knowledge or scientific knowledge is technology. So the way things are right now, I think we're behind, because I think we have we still have the post-colonial mindset. There's still some things that we still need to fight when it comes to our mindset regards to colonization. I'm not trying to blame the colonial masters, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying there's still something out there in our mind that is even more stronger than physical, that is holding us back. Because think about, look at our leadership. Look at how leadership is in Africa, in Nigeria in general. There is less. We don't have much visionaries anymore. And vision, and what makes, I think, what the two things that makes a good leader for me is visions and missions. So, and we don't really have them. Otherwise we won't be changing. Look at APC, PDP. I mean, our political parties. There is no dedicated vision for each party. There is nothing. Literally, there is no.
A good example would be when Tinubu was making a speech. I think he was saying, "Na you need abi na pomo," or was it say pomo or idodo? My wife was showing me this video. I was like laughing. I said, "This is the level. This is the level of leadership."
That is how. Yeah.
Like you're talking to some village people who you can't even address a village people like that. That would be stupid. That is a person who is aspiring to become the president of a country with that kind of mindset. We will just go back to 1,000 years back, 1,000 years backward. When we talk of vision, we need to have leaders who see the future, not the one that will just be asking you whether you want to eat it or do.
Yeah, but for me, I think if you're to pick a leader, to that leader has to have a goodness in their heart first before the vision. Otherwise, if the heart, for me, I really believe in someone's heart. Like if the expression of the person in every area of their life, we also communicate with their heart at their core in their soul. So I look at the soul. I don't look at your religion, because a lot of people hide in the umbrellas of religion and those sort of things. Umbrellas of Muslim, umbrellas of the quote of Christianity. And some of us get blinded by, oh, this person is a pastor, yeah, this person is a imam, this person is a this thing, so vote for this person or do anything. No, no, no. I want to know who you are. I don't care about your religion. I want to know how you are to God. Because if you're calling your soul and you actually truly believe in God, there is a way you believe you will behave towards people in general. There is a level of standard and integrity that you will have that will make you have quality vision for everybody. But if you don't have that, you're most likely going to be living from a selfish core. And whatever vision that you have is not necessarily, is a selfish vision. And it means there will be some part of your equation that will be missed. Of course, there is, every leader needs to also be able to make a harsh decision, the good and the bad side. But I think on a big O, we need to. That's why I said initially that I think one of the things our society as a whole is missing is real spirituality rather than religiosity. Nigeria is very religious, but are we really deeply spiritual? I'm not talking about voodoo or this sort of thing. I'm talking about how close are we to God? What is our how are we, is our morality or the structure of our society designed based on our belief in God, not our selfish, not because we want God to give us this money, we want God to give us this child, we want God to give us this prosperity and etc. Then let's build the society this way. No, no, no. Because we love God, because we want God to be the leader. That's what I mean. We want to form a society, around and around morality. I mean, so that's my own personal belief system, and that is what, if they tell me to pick a leader, I'm going to first of all look at.
All right. All right. That's
I'm
fair
going to first
enough.
of all look at, and then start to say, okay, now what is the vision? Vision is not like, okay, if I have a vision that is now God driven and intellectual driven, and then there we can actually have a mission and the strategies and all these things in place, then I can go with that. But these people, some of them, a lot of them are doing witchcrafts and shady stuff just because they want to gain power. If you're doing things just because you want to gain power, you don't have the best for the people at heart. You're just getting driven by your selfishness. I'm not. For me, a true leader does not want to be in a political
That's
position.
Fortunately, that is what it is. Anyway, now looking at what you do, how would you describe your main profession today?
Now, I'm an entrepreneur. I teach. Sorry, I'm an entrepreneur. I run a teaching agency. I think that's the best way to run. I run a teaching agency. I myself teach, and we have teachers, and we teach technology. We teach building games, software engineering, data science, artificial intelligence, and not just only teach, but build a community to support one another. Because the main point of learning these things is not just to just to teach. It's actually to form security for everybody. So that's the whole point of the community. And then we have some part of the community that focuses on managing talent and ensuring that there's a secure job. So while we're teaching, so we have staff members that look at ensuring that you go through the securing jobs, immigration, because there's a lot of immigration opportunity for tech people. So we're not only just looking at teaching you and helping you develop the skills to get a job, but instead also helping you succeed along as a tech, as someone that's coming into tech. Succeed in terms of like get opportunity when it comes to immigration. A lot of people want to live in Nigeria, and if if you're tech savvy, there's a lot of opportunity for you to get a job and leave the country too. And also, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to become an entrepreneur, because we have the community, you can meet other people that are other entrepreneurs and business opportunities for you to get with the rest of the community members. We're not large yet, but we're trying to like build it up so that it becomes even more stable than it currently is. And also, as a community, we we currently have some network of investors. We've not had 100% engaged with them, but the whole point is to form a community where once you learn, once you build, you can actually even meet business partners, investors, and all these things. But everything starts with the education, teaching.
In this thing that you do, Is there any way storytelling can make any sense? I mean, does maybe understanding the past has anything to do with what you do? Help me to understand that.
What am I understanding the past, meaning my story?
Yeah, both your story and also the story of the people like you. Maybe the story of your people. Who are you? Where are you coming from?
All right. Oh yeah. It does everything actually. It does everything actually. So one, like I see my life, my life. Everybody's life is unique to themselves. Okay, and I faced a lot, and I faced some struggle. I thought after I graduated from university, that would be the end of a lot of my struggle, but actually that was like that was like literally the beginning of more challenges in which I had to face. And going through the journey, I tried to put structures in place to help other people who perhaps will find themselves in my shoes and have a road already built for them from where they are to success. So I'm basically, as I'm moving through my life, I'm putting structures that have helped me and things that I myself know that I needed, and if I had, it would have made the journey easy for me, and I would have quickly done things, and then make sure that other next generations or anyone that is that is going through that similar pipeline do not have to face those roadblocks on the way. So one of the main roadblocks that I faced was coming back to Nigeria, not knowing anybody, not knowing where to start. Everybody in Nigeria is stocked up because trust me, down here, not a lot of people are willing to assist you. For me, I needed assistance because I'm coming into a country where I didn't know left or right, or I didn't know I was like a blind mice moving in a dark room, in a maze. So I didn't know where to get the food or how to get the food, and online there is no much information online. So I was just stranded alone in there, and then finding, and I wasted a lot of money and a lot of time running around trying to figure out how to survive physically. And a lot of people, and when once you tell is I also learned that it's a bad idea telling people some of your successes in history, because it actually makes the journey difficult, because a lot of people, once they see that, sometimes see it as a threat, so they don't even want to assist, or they basically waste your time or things like that, because I think a lot of people down here in Nigeria are frustrated, and they do some things to make you frustrated and feel their pain. It's like they want you to feel their pain, and the way they want to understand them, and the way they feel that you can understand them is if you to feel their frustration. So they sort of like put things in place for you to face that frustration. So, and I don't think that's the best strategy in it. But that for me, the crab system. Um, and for me, I then learned that the best approach for me to survive is to work online, and then I started trying to get jobs online, got some jobs online, and but that also come at a cost, because as someone that doesn't know anybody locally, if I'm making money online, it's not just about the cash. The money is nothing, which no, it's something. Don't get me wrong, but once you don't have the job that you're doing online, you don't have people, so you're not secure. Security comes from community. For me, for what I've noticed, down my security comes from community, because if you have a job online and you don't have anybody locally, like literally you don't have anything locally, and all you have is online, and this online is not people from the same country as you, but people from the UK, because I studied in the UK, I spent my time in the UK. The moment your internet goes off, and that is online is no longer in the picture, people are not paying online anymore, you lose everything again. But once what keeps you going as a person is when you're within a community, and that provides the security that you need, the sense of community. you know so that for me was a big lesson, because I made some money for a while until I made some money for a while working as an accountant, as a data scientist for an accounting data, and I hated accounting, because I like challenges, and accounting for me was plus and minus mathematics and working on data, and a lot of memorizing FRS, FRS, what's it called? UK gap. 106 and UK gap and those sort of things. And there's a standard structure of, I hate memorizing. Personally, I hate anything that has to do with memorizing. I like logic. I like deriving things from first principle. I'm a physicist, and that's what we do with our life. Meaning, we like to understand and then make things up from nothing, rather than memory, things I could just look up. So part of the reason why I hated the job was that. And after a while, and I come back to my environment where I didn't know anybody again, and there's no way for me to make money. But if I had a community, at least I would feel more stable. I feel more safer. I feel more like, yeah, there is a community that I'm part of this market space, this industry, this supply chain. So even if I'm not making any money, there's still some level of safety that at least the market space or the pipeline are still going to be fine. They're still going to generate revenue. They're still going to make money. So at some point, I'm still going to be able to. But then just be completely isolated. I was isolated. Let me say, I was isolated for a large part of the past 6 years has been me being very, very isolated. Meaning, like, about 80 to 90% of the past 6 years was me alone in my room, researching, working, or working for some company online. I'm building.
I can get that. I can feel
Yes.
that loneliness. Yeah. Unfortunately.
So sometimes you sort of like get addicted to the loneliness as well. I'm not going to complain or fret, because sometimes solitude, there is some, there is some level of there is something that happens when you're in solitude for a really long time, and that's what I meant by, things become, you start to think. I start to think about God more. And for me, I really appreciate, honestly, I really appreciate thinking about God. I really, I really, really, I'm not religious, and I'm trying to be religious. I'm not saint. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big sinner. I see myself as a sinner, as a big, I'm trying not to be a sinner. Don't get me wrong. I'm not proud to be a sinner, but I just, I want to go, I want to get closer to God. And there is a good side of being alone that makes you start thinking about the universe, become more of a scientist. You think more, you spend time thinking more, doing things more, and creativity, a lot of creativity and innovations. I think they come from you being alone. But at the same time, the question of your existence in the universe links back to the question of the creator of everything. Like, if you're alone, you're forced to create your own, to sometimes ask for, question your existence, question existence. If you're spending 90% of a year you by yourself in your room, either building or alone, question you're researching, then you're going to be questioning the universe as a whole. And sometimes when you're questioning the universe as a whole, then you're forced to question your own, like your spirit, or your soul, like if that such existed, if
And when you
and
do
then
those
that.
questioning, what then happen? Because I think that at the end of the day, a lot of people actually are living in the bubble, no? In that they just want some friends to hang around, they drink, they do. Okay, it's not necessarily that you just drink, but they just like to be in the noise. In that sense, you are not really rooted on the ground. Okay, you are rooted in the community that you are living with, no? Uh, and at a point, you don't really have anything really that much that you can add to this world other than be like another number. Because every other person that have made a significant change in our life now have endured that loneliness, that thing you are referring to, because that is what gives you chance to be able to question even yourself. Because everything can be questioned and everything need to be questioned. Because how long do you think you are going to be in this world that you just take everything that is offered to you as if that is just the way it is? You too need to add to it. Because few years ago, there was no aeroplane. If everybody accepted it, that is the way we are supposed to live, some people will say, if God wanted us to fly, he would have given us wing. That, of course, begin from what is your concept of God. You believe God created you the Garden of Eden. Now, God give you everything that you needed to do. then you are supposed to be like the animal in the forest, because that is the natural world that the things, the way it was done. For the fact that you cross a river to another river with a bridge, that is not part of the natural creation. That is man-made creation. That idea came from somebody who thought of it, that it could be better like this. And maybe the person started to do it, he didn't succeed, he died. Another person continued from there. So I think we need to
Mm-hmm.
think deep. We really need to think deep. We don't need to accept it just the way it is. That okay, yes, they're going to like me like this, or this is the way it has always been done. No, if we do it the way it has always been done, we will remain what we have always been.
uh, yeah, you know what you're saying now. That is the big fight between me and my dad.
Mhm.
That is a big
I'm
fight between
interested
me
in
and my
that
dad.
fight. Tell me more about it.
Um, me and my dad are not the best friends. I'm not sure if this is okay for me to put on social media or anything like that, but we're not at all, you know. And it's basically looking at myself, being humble as well. I'm trying to be humble as much as possible. I see myself as an inventor. Creative. An inventor is a creative. An inventor a creative focus on technology is an inventor. Because for you to invent things, it has to come from something that doesn't currently exist. You have to create. You have to, there has to be a creative mind for you to invent a new technology. Although you know, you can have a copy and paste type of technology, which is fine. But for you to come up with something that is not currently existing, there is a need for a creative process going on there. So I'm always, if you're creative like that, your natural state is going to be you thinking about new technology, things you can do, especially when I go back to Nigeria. When I go back to Nigeria, I had a couple of ideas in which I took action on. I couldn't do by myself because I didn't have the financial means to, but I didn't really believe all I needed was, all I needed was financial means. I think if I started the project, if I work on it, if I build it myself, even if it's really, really bad, but I try as far as I can show some prototype, at some point I will get the financial infrastructure to build and finish it. And so every time I'm always coming, okay, if you do this, I'm always going to my dad, to my parents sometimes, and be like, okay, like this is something that you can do, and if you do A, B, C, D, this is what we can get out of it. This is what certain type of problems that we can solve in the society, and this is what you can do. Some of the technologies that was invented post coronavirus. I will tell you that these were the technologies that I was suggesting back in 2016. For example, being able to being able to, for example, engineer success for people by giving people their probability of success and where they're going to be when they're going to find success based on whatever it is that they're searching for or they need and how they're moving along. Meaning, for example, give example. If you have a Google map, let's say you have a Google map, and the Google map gives you some kind of heat map, something like so a geolocation map that have a heat map, and the heat map shows you the probability of success in different parts of the geolocation, so that when you wake up in the morning, it tells you every single day where you need to go that optimizes your success. And our definition of success is, in this case, is ability for you to meet the needs. So you're going to give us your need every single day, your need, your life goals, what you want to achieve in life. Then we break that down into a series of steps and a series of items and a series of pawns for you to collect and actions for you to take every day in order for you to get to that. But these actions and pawns can they be mapped? Can they be mapped on Earth? Can they be mapped on different geolocation and the probability of finding them in different locations? If it's people that you need, if it's people that you need, if it's knowledge that you need, if it's product that you need, if it's commodity that you need, and these are just your needs, just tell us what you wish for, and then we'll be able to search for you. And this is the final aspect of it, which is very important. And you see, And the final aspect of it is based on how you're working, whenever you're now close to that thing that has high probability of success, note that you already have a map that says that if you go to this point in 30 seconds, in 30 minutes, okay, you will meet an element of success there. And when you get there, and then that element is now in your proximity, okay, your phone is going to beep and say, this element is here, meaning that it's going to beep to let you know that, okay, that thing you're looking for is not available in that proximity. So you can decide to not interact with that thing physically. So basically, that's why we call it proximity, meaning that as you're going around, so let's say you walk into a mall and you want to buy some things. As you're walking around the mall, it's going to show you different items in that mall. So if you walk into a store, it's going to collect for you all the items in the store, and based on how you're working in that store, it's going to basically update itself and list the items based on your location inside the store. So this is just an example of how it will work in terms of commodities. So and it's called and the part of the reason why I'm doing this is because one of the main problem we have in Nigeria is the fact that we have a lot of graduates that study sciences and engineers, that graduated university, but they came out to go into financial industries and things that doesn't use their skill set. So my mind has been working around the fact that I'm trying to create an opportunity for scientists and physicists and mathematicians and engineers to come and actually graduate and have a place to work, to feel like, yeah, I can still use my skill set the way, I love what I do and I can still use my skill set. And this for me was a way, was one of the ways I came up with then, because although we on the surface level, that's what they're solving, on the behind the scene, there's a lot of mathematics involved, a lot of economics involved, and economics and mathematics is really, really tally up. Um, so so me suggesting this thing to my dad back then, he hated it. Why? He said, just leave things the way it is. No, don't change it. No, no, no. We don't want anything new. Like literally, this actually no. It was really angry. Like honestly, like oh my days, man. It was like when it comes to the biggest pushback I've had in my life is from my own dad. In my technology, in everything. For example, another example is if you've ever been to Nigerian airports, you know how it is. Like if you ever try to wait for a new person landing in the airport, you see how they get really, really crowded outside. And there is no way for you to track the new person, the person that you're waiting for that's arriving from another country. There's no way to track them. There's no, you just have to wait outside, and hopefully you will see the person. And there's a lot of theft, like some theft that going around there, or things like that. So I went there. I was waiting for my sister. She was coming down to Nigeria from India. Then me and my dad were outside waiting to waiting to pick her up and things like that. And I'm like, this is not really good. It's not really a good reflection of my country. The way the Murtala Mohammed Airport is, and the way people were lined up, crowded out there. So what I said, well, okay, you know what? This is another thing that we can build. We can literally, if you're interested in money, we can literally make some money off this, because we're going to be solving people's problem by what? By creating an applications, especially for things like this, in which when people land, and when the people that are coming in to pick up their guests, or the people coming from abroad, can have an app in which they'll be able to track. They'll be the only one to be able to track the location of the new person, and all they need is to connect to the local Wi-Fi, not internet. There's a difference between internet. The internet will connect everybody, but the intranet, meaning that the local internet, the local Wi-Fi, can literally, you don't need to be paying anyone for that. It's just basically connecting devices to devices with a router, without an internet, so you don't need to pay. So if you have that in an airport, and every device that just landing, connects to that router, you can through this router, you can find the person you're looking for. You can track them on, okay, they're now checking out, now they're not doing this, Now this person is now outside. This is the location of the person. So you don't need to be going and be waiting outside and be queuing and people line out outside, looking at every single individual that come out and see if is the person that they're trying to pick up. You can just sit down somewhere, look at your phone, and the other person get it, and you can literally just message through that too. Because what? They can't use WhatsApp. Because when you're just landing into a new country, you don't have the local service for that country, except if you're using the global network. Meaning that if your internet service provider is a global internet service provider, meaning that for example, MTN is not going to work in Italy. If I come into Italy now, I cannot use my internet. So it means that if I land and you're trying to pick me up in Italy, you will not be able to track me because I won't have internet, and now you won't be able to call me either. Except if I connect to the internet of that local of the airport. But the Nigerian airport do not give you free internet, by the way. There is no free internet. There is no that. So if we, because it's going to cost them something. So let us have a local network that doesn't need to connect to the internet, and you can do all your tracking, and it's not going to cost you. It's not going to cost. It's literally not going to cost them. It's probably going to cost them electricity to keep it on, and that is all. But it's not going to cost them data transfer rate over the internet, if you get what I mean. Just to clarify, because you said you're not a tech person, it's like you have a router in your room. If you have a router in your room, you can choose not to subscribe for a month, but while still connecting all the devices in your house to that router. Because all the devices in your house is connected to that router, they can still communicate over that router without connecting to the global internet. So that is what I was suggesting, but making it a proper app that you can use it to track every single process of someone with a they have a ticket number, right? Yes, it's a ticket number or a plane ticket, and you can track the plane, each person, the plane ticket number to the people that they trust. So you're not going to show my ticket number to someone that is trying to attack me, for example. So there's going to be some level of privacy and being able to show it to, I suggested to my dad, and this was like, I wish I had never said anything. I wish I had never said anything.
Well, that is the point.
It showed me something about, and is this, and this is this person is educated. It's not like extremely educated, but this person is to some level. He went to university, so I think is educated, and it tells me something about the older generation that they really do not want. I don't know what is wrong, but I think some of them, not all of them, just want things the old ways. They just don't want anything to change. And you can't, like you said earlier on, we can't have that. We can't have things being stagnant and being like that. The reason why the Europe is the way it is right now is because they're always improving. They're always building something new. They're always moving. But Africa is not really like that. Africa, there's a certain number of people that want it the way it was in 1940s. Technology-wise.
Well, not only technology, it's all across. It's all across the board. That is why we see Tinubu coming to say, "I will give you a wa, I will give you a dodo," because that is the way it has always been. If you now imagine Obama coming to campaign for election, it will tell the people, "I will give you a McDonald's." Are you crazy?
I'll give him McDonald's. I'll give him.
Tinubu is telling Nigerian people, vote for me. I will give you a dodo. That is a mentality. It's a backward mentality. Now, the thing is that the people of this generation, the people of the new generation, when they look at that kind of mentality, it looks sickening. Because we are looking for a way that our leaders could be flying, not the one that will be carrying on wheelchair. Because that doesn't fit into our mentality anymore. It shouldn't fit in. So I return back to what I was saying before, that it is important that we need to take some time to go away from the bubble and refine who we are. It is absolutely important. So loneliness in this sense can be useful. Being able to identify that, yes, first of all, we are a group. But before we become part of a group, we are also individual. It is true. It is not just a philosophy. So that your individuality, what do you intend to do with it? Because if at a level of individual you cannot serve yourself, then you are only a body when you become part of the group, because the group will be carrying you on
100%.
their shoulder.
100%.
But if you are
100%.
useful now, say maybe you are very useful as an individual, then you come to a group, then you are useful to the group. If everybody in the group are very useful because they are so refined in their own different field, then the group will be moving forward. Otherwise, it becomes like a stagnant water, a water that is okay. You know Lagos. Okay, you are in Lagos now. You see there are some places in Lagos there is water there, but the water is not flowing. It's not moving. It's so dirty. You can even see algae inside the water. This is inside the city. That is an embodiment of the Nigerian society. That is how it has become.
100%. 100%.
Because we believe that it must be the way it has always been. But we can't move on if it is always the way it has always been. If somebody were thinking with a new way of thinking, this is not a European thinking, this is not Western thinking. It's just a new way of thinking. Somebody could ask the question, this water need to flow. Why is it not flowing? Because nobody is asking the question. Because if you don't ask the question, you don't get the answer. Like I was saying before, everything according to the African philosophy and spirituality is already there. All the knowledge is there. Everything is possible. But you need to ask the right question. What do you want? Because until you ask the question, if you ask foolish question, then you get foolish answer. All right, let's go back to you again. Because I like the way that you are tickling with technology. Now, help us understand. How did you learn how to tap into technology like this and able to move around? The reason I'm asking the question is that those that are listening to us, they might also like to do what you have done. And the reason we exist at all as a podcast is to share knowledge so that other people can learn. So help me with that.
How? Okay. Okay. To ask me how is, I think that's a difficult question, but I'm going to try my best to answer. The way I personally see technology, it goes back to how I started this conversation. I'm a let me just talk about what I'm working on now. Like as a community and the community we're working on, where I think we said this before, gamification of education, and how that ties into the idea of metaverse or quantum computing and those sort of things. Now, I see technology, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to show you the creativity first. For me, technology for me it's more about intertwining who I am as as a person, and try to express myself, because I can only be myself very well. That's the best thing I can do. That's the only thing I can be the best at, is to be myself. Like if I try to be something else or someone else or try to compete, I'm most likely going to lose and everything. I'm not trying to say I'm weighing down myself down, etc. But the best thing that each and every single one of us can do best is that we can be ourselves the best. And no one, if anyone is trying to compete with us at being ourselves, the person have lost even before competing. So now the way I see technology for me is more of like not technology today. Actually, the more I see, let's start with programming, because that's what I'm going to start. The way I see programming is like English language and writing novel. So you have a story to tell, and usually, okay, some stories do not have a problem they're solving, but there's some stories that there are problems around that you're meant to look at, and you're meant to look at how you can solve this problem and make the world easy for
Sorry,
other
that
people.
is
That is
noise.
something.
There is somebody crying there.
Crying. Yeah, there's a kid in my. There's a. Sorry, give me a second.
Okay.
All right. So now now the way I see it is more of like you meant to solve I think we're here to solve one another's problem, and if we can actually be, if we can be the solution, we are sorry, that we not if we can, we are the solutions to one another's problems. So, and I'm thinking from that perspective, technology comes in for you to express that solution that you are. That is where I see it. And now software programming allows you to become just like a writer doing that. I mean, you write a program, meaning you write a software which becomes a solution to someone's problem. So, and this comes from me before I start to think about how advanced the technology is, how cool the technology is, how whatever it is. So I just see it as a creative process of write a story and make sure that whatever story you're writing is a solution to someone's problem. That goes back to the beginning of our of our conversation, talking about the good and the bad side of technology. That I said it does depend on who is building the tool, because the same solutions the same thing that is a solution to other people's problem can also be used as a weapon. Technology comes into it's like a two-edged sword. All technologies are like that. All techs are like, I know, come with two-edged sword. So for me, I just think you should just find yourself as a creative person first. You should just find your own core purpose first before you then pick up technology to use as a tool to express more of who you currently are. And that's the way I see it. And for me, what has helped me more is also because I'm a scientist. I have a scientific background. I love mathematics. I love mathematics. I love physics. I love these things. So, and me coming to technology is me coming to express that. Me coming to express the way I see the world from a mathematical standpoint, and the way I analyze the world from a physical or scientific standpoint, and then solving, and then applying that in solutions, in solving problems, real life problems with technology, basically. So then, if people want to really understand do technology, then they should pick some mathematics if you want, but you can literally do technology just purely from a creative perspective without mathematics at all as well. You can go into gaming. Gaming requires some mathematics as well, but you can also go into if you want to write code, there are different ways you can write the code too. If you are a creative mind as well, like, so I think it's a personal thing. If you want to, I think learning technology is very personal. It's like, you know like, the reason why I say it's personal is also because a scientist's approach to learning tech and wielding the tool is be different from an artistic approach, from an artist approach of learning tech and wielding the tool. The only thing they have in common is that the tool is a language. It's like English. It's basically like the language of English. Like, you learn English, and you can use English for business. You can use English for writing novels, for whatever it is that you want to, for scientific processes, for whatever it is that you're doing. But the way you learn it as an English major is different from the way you will learn it as a physics major or or mathematics major. The emphasis, what we put emphasis on, in this different perspective of life is going to be different. So if you want to pick it up, I first of all need to know. This is what I do. I really first of all interview the person, look at their background, and then find a way in which they will enjoy the process. Because for me, it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey. If you can enjoy the journey, then that is all I need. It's like riding the bicycle. All I want you to do is basically the ability for you to ride the bicycle and enjoy riding, and then you can keep on learning and doing the rest by yourself. So it's just finding a way to enjoy the process, and that also depends on who you are as a person. If you're a creative person, I find a creative way to make you enjoy it, which is in line with who you currently do or what you currently do or your own goal. So another way is for you to say, okay, I ask people what project, why do you want to pick it up? If it's more than just getting a job, if it's because I think technology is more satisfying if you getting into it, not just because of you want to get a job, but because you want to become a solution to people's problem, okay, or because you want to serve. For me, because you want to create, but because you want to do something for this world, you want to leave something behind. You want to leave a legacy behind. You want to you want to put your pet project out there. So or you spend your time in a field, meaning that you're an English major and all you do is write. But all of these things that you've been writing about, that these are literally solutions that you want to bring to life. Meaning you want to make it more than just people reading, but people can interact with. Then these are the things that I drag out as projects, and then this project is now broken down into lesson courses or into the things that you need to be doing and be aspiring to finish. So based on that, you have something that is your pet project, is something you want to put out there, you want to put in the marketplace, that you cannot sleep without. Okay, meaning that if you don't do this in a day, you won't feel comfortable because this thing feels like you're way out of the metrics, or you know something that you definitely want to put there as your identity or something like that. And then we can then you can have this natural drive. What I want is a natural drive. That is what I look for. Even if I'm teaching physics, if I'm teaching mathematics, I first of all try to get to the natural drive. And once you get the natural drive, it is easy to get students, it's easy to get learners to keep learning. It's easy to get them to get motivated to know so much than the teacher. And that's the goal. Like if a student is better than you, you've done well. You've done exceptionally well. So to the way I get people to solve this to learn technology is by getting asking them to find a way to turn their current job, their current project, their current system into a technological system by itself, in which it can run in its you have a technology for yourself for that whatever system that you're currently running in. You want to move it into your own technology, or you want to start plugging your own build technology on it, because there is so much that Microsoft can do for you. There is so much that Facebook can do for you, but they cannot see what you want for yourself, for your business. You're the one that can really see this. Of course, there are tools out there, but the thing is, you can take all of these tools, use them in your own technology, and then rebuild it for yourself and optimize your own productivity and your own internal company's productivity as well. So, and once you see that, there is usually this form of, okay, even another way to say this, I can even sell this thing I'm using for myself as my own business to other people within my own industry too. So that can bring out the drive to say, I want to learn. And once you have the natural drive of, yes, no one, I need to finish this particular project, then the rest is easy. The rest is like, it's like picking up English language and then speaking English language, literally just like that. If you find yourself in Italy, you have to learn to speak Italian. Come stai?
Come stai?
Yeah, like you have to. It's like if you're in Italy, and you want to succeed as a business person, you will find a way to speak it. It's just I'm talking about programming specifically, by the way. Programming specifically. But the thing about programming that is actually powerful is it actually teaches you how to think. Literally teaches you how to think. Like it helps you structure your mind. A lot of things that's going on when it comes to programming is logic. And part of the problem that we have in Africa is people are very, it's good to be spiritual, but people are like very superstitious that we throw logic out of the window. That is why someone will come and say that a snake swallowed 90 billion naira, or I don't know how much, and everybody will believe. Or a monkey swallowed a monkey swallowed 90 billion naira, and then everybody in the country believe. Or like what you just said today about the dodo and the plantain and beans. And these things, if you on the grand scheme of things, it's not logical for a leader to say that, and it's not even logical for anyone to believe that, because you're trading what, 4 years or 8 years of your well-being for what? For plantain and beans? Really? And now that is where the idea of logic come into place. Like, if you actually watch a lot of programmers or people that actually spend time programming, everything that they do is computer logic, and a lot of logic and mathematics come together. And that can help you even think about it. It will pour into other aspects of your life, business, everything, in terms of how you calculate things, and then how you respond to things from a logical perspective. So and that is a superpower of programming, and that's how programming or programming languages is different from English language. English language, you can literally say anything, book rap, pardon my language, and things can still be fine. But from a computer language perspective, things have to make logical sense before it's acceptable. So, and that is how even the likes of Bill Gates, we said the same thing about how programming have helped him as a person, and how you advise it to other people, just for logical reasoning. You don't have to become a programmer at the end of the day, but just to help you shapes your mind in how you think. So yeah. So it's literally just a language, but that's it.
Thank you so much for that. I
So one more
appreciate
thing I would
that.
like to add. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
one more
please,
thing I would
please.
like to add. One more thing I would like to add is, now that you have now that you have the ability to write these programs, to write these novels, and then to speak to computer and control computer the way you want, because this is a computer language. And in the world we live in right now, being able to talk to machine is like important, because we all talk to one another over a machine. So, and now that you have the language to command computer, you understand computer language, there is less limit between your mind and the machine. The more you master this, the more you can transform whatever you have in your mind into a machine, and the machine materializes it, if you get what I mean. So it's just like how you have two human beings, okay, and they have a communication protocol. Things are easy for you to easily communicate your mind between two human beings that they agree on their communication protocol. But when it comes to two human beings in which their communication protocol is different, for example, an English person and an Italian person, it's going to be difficult to communicate everything in your mind in the exact way that you want it to be to the other person. But and that is and in this case, the same thing between organic system and inorganic system, meaning that between human beings and machines. The more you can transform what is your mind into what is in the computer, and the computer send it to everybody visually, and the better it is that you're able to monetize your ideas. And that is why I'm going to, and this is how you can build motivation in people. Do you want to monetize your ideas? Do you want to have an idea that solves previous problem, and then get the machine to bring that idea to life? And that is what it is. Of course, it is not enough having an idea. You have to have a community of people too who this idea serves and make life easy for. Because if it's not going to make life easy for me, why would I use it? I have 24 hours of attention per day, and a lot of those hours, let's say I have about only 10 hours to spare. A lot of them goes to me sleeping, showering, and doing all that necessary things. Let's say I have about 8 hours left. So if you want to take these 8 hours left, you have to ensure that whatever it is I'm spending my time in, it actually serves me and makes my life better. Or it can make my life worse, but it doesn't make me addicted, like social media. Social media initially serves, but right now in today's day and age, I'm not sure how. I don't even. Let me not say too much on social media. But yeah, it still serves some people, but it's also doing some damage. Everything have good and bad.
All right. I think that was interesting, like we said before, no? That the tools, like the social media, we are going to see it as a tool and we are going to use it. If we are going to use it, we are going to learn how to use it. Because one of the one of the thing I actually quoted is one of the universal law. It is a law that whether you know it or not, you will suffer the consequences. In like, if you are standing in a 10-story building and from there you jump down, you cannot tell the law of gravity that, well, I don't know, I don't believe in you. It's going to act on you anyway. If the fire is burning, if you jump into the burning fire, you can't say, well, I'm ignorant of it. Then when you get inside the fire, then you will know what is the meaning of ignorance. So
What?
I think the internet is a tool like this tool, in that it's not going to work on you until you allow it to work on you, until you decide to participate. What do I mean? You are the one that open your phone and connect to the internet. You are the one that choose to stay there. If you don't like it, you can actually go out of it. You can use it for your good, but you can also use it for your bad. It is not the internet that is bad or good. It is not the social media that is bad or good. It is how we use it. So
How we use
we
it?
are in
100%.
control.
100%.
All
Yeah,
right, now,
yeah, 100%. But this one I'm going to, I
yeah, please,
100%
please.
agree. But sometimes these tools can be really powerful. That that they've hacked into the human mind and use our natural psychology against us. Let me also can be used for us. Okay, so there is not. I'm not just line in one direction. For example, how addiction, for example, is not some of these addiction are actually engineered. They're not just random occurrence. And really nothing is actually random. I believe in the laws of cause and effect, the Newton first law, and these addiction that you're seeing to social media and etc. Some of these things are engineered because now they understand how the law works. So they put the causes together to create this effect of addiction. And some of these addictions that we are seeing in people are focused on things that are not valuable for them when it comes to the use of their time. So it's not, like sometimes it is your own natural psychology that's being played against you thanks to the algorithms. You know, um, because yeah, I get that there is the idea of free will and using choices.
I understand you on that. But the point is that, what if you turn off the phone? Because I know most people, of course, in Nigeria will use phone, or maybe some other place. If you have access to the computer, you turn off the computer. What if you turn the phone off? Will it still have any effect on you?
You're addicted. You're already addicted. It should have effect. You'll be thinking about it. Yeah, before you know it, you grab your phone again.
No, no.
I know.
I think I like the question of control. In 2010, I wrote a book that I titled "Underdevelopment in Africa. My Hands Are Clean." That was based on the background that a lot of Africa like to blame the European for the underdevelopment in Africa. And of course, in the book too, I did say, yes, I agree that the Europeans have a lot of responsibility for what they did in Africa. Talking of the genocide and the genocide, the homicide, everything. Yes. But what of the Africans? What is our responsibility for what happens? Don't we have any
No,
responsibility in what is happening to us?
100%
So
we do.
the question
100%.
is, I like the point when we begin to take responsibility for what we do and the consequences thereof. So
100%.
I want to see all the things in front of us as tools, only tools. So what we need to do, we cannot even control Facebook. We should be aware of that. But we can control ourselves. If we can control ourselves and therefore control how we use Facebook, then Facebook can suddenly begin to work for us. But if we cannot control ourselves and we just go there like Mumu and begin to consume everything we see there, We are destroying ourselves. It is not Facebook. It is us, our
It's
inability
us.
to control ourselves. All right.
100%, 100%.
All right. Because technology is a tool. And in Nigeria, we have a lot of problem, a lot of catastrophe. Do you think, and of course, I'm beginning to interview a lot of people, also a lot of Nigerian, very intelligent Nigerians like you, who are into tech. The question I usually ask is, how can we bring these technologies, this modern technology, to resolve most of the problems that we have? A good example could even be electricity in Nigeria. The other day, I was interviewing a woman who started the university in Cameroon, and we were talking also about this one because at a point we're talking about business. And of course, talking about business these days, you have to talk of also energy, which are the tools that you need to be able to operate. So in Nigeria,
100%.
you know that we are in the dark, no? Up until
100%.
recently, we don't
I
have
don't
the
have light right now.
statistics. Okay, thank you. We don't have the statistics of how much megawatt of electricity we actually need to power the Nigeria economy. Since 1999 till now, I think people should have been asking the question. The Nigerian Minister of Power should be able to tell the Nigerian, for the size of this economy, this is what we need, but this is what we can produce. But I can guarantee that we don't really have the figure. If you have it, maybe you can share with me. But
No,
where
we
I'm
don't.
actually
No, no.
okay, where I'm actually going is, how can we use technology to solve some of these problems? Because now we know that there is the possibility of tapping into solar energy. That is only one. But there are a lot of sources of energy that we can actually tap into so that we don't live like the monkey in the forest. That when the day is bright, they go outside. When the day is dark, everybody go inside. They don't have the source, the possibility of generating their own electricity.
Let's just say,
But
yeah, 100%.
we can generate electricity. We have gone beyond the
Okay.
age of just going to sleep because it is dark. How can we solve this problem?
With technology, but technology itself is technology is basic. Okay. Let me say something also this way. I'll say also that it's like the iceberg, and then you're only seeing the top of the iceberg, but we're not seeing like something the thing that's bottom at the at the bottom of the iceberg that's making the iceberg stand on top of the water. The iceberg in this case is basically technology, but the thing that is making the iceberg stand is the researchers, the scientists, is the intellectuals, is the education, is all of these things. The thing is in Nigeria, this thing has been crumpled, and then this thing that's making the technology that's required to make the other side stand has been crumbled. And the thing is, if you want to, I believe, if you want to, there is a saying that if you want to crush a nation, crush the intellectuals too. First, if you crush the intellectuals, if you eliminate the intellectuals, then it's easy for you to crush the nation. Right now, I'm not saying that we don't have intellectuals, but we don't have people who are dedicated to. We have them. Sorry, they're not funded. They're not promoted. And people are moving away from that to Yahoo. In fact, that Yahoo is more attractive than the people that will go into science, the people that will go into because the technology that you have today come from the research, come from many years of understanding the core principles of nature, and then applying these core principles of nature in building these hardwares, in building these electricity systems or electronics, and so on and so forth. So for me, I would say if you really want to make Nigeria or the African system a stronger system, then we need to look at actually empowering our intellectuals because they're not getting paid, and the new generation are not even promoted to even invest in intellectuals. More people do not even value education. What do they value? Because technology is booming. Okay, people are value technology as a whole and invest in technology, but that's not enough. If you want to create an energy system, the UK, the Western system, the Western that create energy system, where did they start from? If we trace back how the power systems were generated, you will go back to the likes of Lenz law. and relents. Then you have Faraday, like what's his name, Nikola Tesla, and these scientists and people who has built and do all this research and have built this system in place before they have a really strong enough structure. But for us, we're not promoting these people. These people are even talked down at, and then we should not expect our system to be technologically strong, because the people who are meant to put the structures in place, who are meant to put the intellectual structures in place for us to thrive when it comes to building energy systems and building internet systems, building all these systems, are not being promoted. Yeah, there are people, there are people in the business environment that they're trying to do these things, but a lot of what they're doing is imported. The ideas that they bring from somewhere else, and then but I'm not against international trade, no, not at all. But I'm against all if all you do, even ideas, is import. And that is the system that we found ourselves. And if we really want to solve the problem of energy, we should not directly solve the problem. We cannot directly solve the problem of energy in the system without first of all going into our intellectuals. Otherwise, the only thing we'll be doing is just import again. And the part of the reason why we're where we are and energy is not stable is because we are importing energy and it costs us a lot of money. If we can actually come down here and actually understand how to develop energy. I'm not saying we should do this, don't get it wrong, but and actually have enough educated people that understand how energy can be extracted from ideas. Literally, how energy can be extracted from ideas, and enough people doing that, at some point, we have enough competitors in the system that if you don't provide me 24 hours electricity, someone is going to wake up somewhere and is going to provide that solution. If you don't do it, if you're slacking as a business person, it's not a monopoly. Someone else is going to do it and give me something better. And I'm looking at because I'm not going to rely on the government system. I think we by now, the last thing as people for us to be doing is to be looking at the government for anything. For me, I don't even look at the government for anything. Normally, that's their position. Your tax and etc. But at this point, I think they've shown us over the many years that if we really want to move, we need to take responsibility. Like you said, we need to start doing our own thing and privatize a lot of these things by ourselves. And so if you're not looking into solar is fine. We can borrow some system from from abroad and then start using it down here. But again, it goes back to if we have our own scientific system. Normally, I'm going to say scientific and research, but turning that into actual solution. Then we'll be able to move in every single aspect of life, energy, internet, etc. Because we have the intellectuals in which their daily job is to ensure that we are moving. The energy system is getting developed, the technology system is getting developed. Every single aspect of us, technology wise, is getting developed. Like I said initially, that technology is application of knowledge. Technology is when you actually have engineered something with the knowledge that you've acquired. But the knowledge is at the core of the technology, and the knowledge comes from these so-called intellectuals that are meant to go into this research and form this knowledge for us to apply. Let me give an example. I have one of my friends is also a Nigerian, is someone that I did say research with, and we talk about how how it is possible for us to build an energy system that can give birth to more energy systems. Meaning that if you have a genetically modified microorganisms in which you can extract some energy out of this, let's call it bacteria, okay, or a virus. You have a microorganism, you've genetically modified it, for example, extract energy from photosynthesis. But out of the total energy that you extract from photosynthesis, it only need about 1 unit, but it has about 3 units left, and you can extract out these 3 units. And then because it's a bacteria or a virus, they grow really, really fast. So not a bacteria, not a virus. they grow, they give birth really, really fast. So therefore, you can expand on that and create a large amount of energy that you can extract from this genetically modified microorganism from photosynthesis. These ideas is coming from people who spend time researching in the lab, who spend time putting structures in this. And if this thing can actually go through the supply chain from coming from the lab and intellectuals all the way to being in the marketplace, this is an example of a solution that will definitely help with Nigerian energy, some aspect of Nigerian energy, and therefore help with the economy and the GDP as a whole. Now, secondly, another example of what I'm working on, which is quantum information. There is an aspect of quantum information which is what we call the zero point energy, in which if you make microcavities, you can probably there's a research going on that you can use that to tap into pure energy, because every single point in space have enough energy to power a city. And in every single point in your room right now, if every single point in your room right now have enough energy to power your house.
That's fascinating. Maybe you need to expand on that.
Okay. Now, every single point in your room have enough energy to power your house. We just need to create the machines or the devices to tap into those energy, and that is what is just difficult at the moment. Okay, and in order for us to get into that, that's another solution to the problem that we have in Africa. And my point is basically that the more intellectuals you have in the country, the more they'll be thinking about different aspects of life, and they'll be developing on it. And if you have the infrastructures, some of these problems are not going to exist anymore. If I'm to expand on that, let me expand on that. There is a law. There is what we call the Obus law. The Obus law is basically that the distance, how fast, if you have 2 points in space, okay, 2 points in, when I say space, I'm not talking only about space as in, what a lot of people think space is, meaning astronaut space. I'm talking about vacuum. I mean, your environment, space, any 2 points in your environment, okay? Naturally, the distance they're moving apart, they're moving apart all the time, meaning that space is expanding every single point in time. Any single point in space that you are is naturally moving away from each other. Naturally. And some people say this is the dark energy, is the cause of it, and etc. like that. Now this is what is going on. If every single point in space is moving apart, then what we now call the Obus law, which states that the rate at which they're moving apart is proportional to the distance between them. So it means that the more, the distance between any 2 points in space, okay, is proportional to how fast they're even moving, accelerating away from each other. So the more distance between them, the more they're moving away from each other. So that is why if you look at, they have what they call the Doppler shift, when you look out into the sky, and that's part of the reason why they say that the universe is expanding, meaning that the entire universe is expanding. And you can do this experiment and actually see this Obus law play a part. What does it mean? It means that if you take that means that what is energy? Energy is the cause of change in any state of the system. If there is no energy in a system, of course, mass itself is energy, but let me just remove that and say that if there is no cause of change in a system, it's going to be like that forever. It's not going to contract. It's just going to be stagnant like that, frozen forever. If something change at all, there is a energy dynamics that cause the change in that thing. I'm not sure if you get what I mean. It's like if you can freeze time, then you have a constant energy. Then there is no energy change at all. So that one, there's no energy put into the system, there's no energy coming out of the system. But if there is any change, meaning any movement, if you yourself moving, your room is moving, things, it's because of the energy dynamics, because of the energy coming in and going out of the system. So this is what I mean. If every single point in space is moving apart in such a way that the faster and the more they are, the more the farther any 2 points are apart, the faster they're moving away from each other. Something is causing it to change from the initial distance to it even moving away from each other. And that thing, there is an energy causing it, which is a natural state of energy that's everywhere. Because it's what? It's just a natural, the universe is expanding everywhere. So there is a there is energy that is causing that motion in expansion, that's causing that expansion. And if you want to tap into that energy, we've called it 0 point energy. You need to build, for example, a microcavity a microcavity and engineer some irreversible processes within it. We can talk into details into engineering these things that will trap this energy, and then we can then extract that and then supply that. There are people working on this. There are a lot of researchers, quantum physicists, quantum engineers working on this aspect of energy. And these are like, if you like one of the main things that we do in Africa, which is really for me annoying, is where we rely on old technologies rather than lead technologies, rather than bring this thing, and as far as that's the case, we're going to keep getting colonized technologically, and this, if we start, and of course we don't expect for us to start thinking in this angle, but we need to put this, we need to first of all structure our intellectuals, look at ways for which we can put the right infrastructures by using the currently available infrastructures. Of course, we need to first of all give them some form of electricity. Solar is there, what we currently have, in order for them to create these better solutions. But we need to really, I think we need to prioritize our intellectuals, because if we prioritize our intellectuals, the other aspect of life is going to move, meaning our business people, our politicians, because, more people, if we prioritize our intellectuals, more people are going to be intellectual. So these politicians are not going to dupe them with buying beats.
For the Idodo. Well, if we still keep getting the leader that promised not Idodo for 4 years. Anyway, my man, maybe if we keep relying on the politician, we'll keep remaining where we are. I believe what you said before, that we don't need to rely on them, not anymore, because we know that the equation doesn't work. It doesn't turn out to be what it is. They don't want to solve the problem, not because they cannot solve it, but because they don't want to solve it, and because
they're benefiting from it.
And because we cannot bend them, we can only change them from time to time. At least that is democracy. Okay, that is already good enough. Maybe we start looking for a way to find.
Is it really democracy? Really?
Whatever, really? A semblance of it. One thing I was thinking. One thing I was thinking when I asked you the question relating to if technology, the modern technology, can help us, is that I believe that this can actually be done in very many versions and different ways. It doesn't mean that in Africa we must build this huge dam. There are actually big dams that can actually power huge countries in Africa that are already currently existing. But of course, we know these 100%. Are technology that were built several years ago, and things are moving ahead. Okay, now you look at the first computer that was built.
I didn't answer your question. If I'm to, I actually think, I think I got the question wrong. I think I got the question. Like, I was thinking something else. I was thinking something else. I just, sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Okay, now, I ways in which do I think technology can help, Africa, or it's already helping Africa. It's already, usually. The politicians, with all due respect to them too, they were keeping the people impoverished, and thanks to internet and laptops, some of our talents here are not working from Nigeria with other companies abroad, and they're making money, generating money, and using that to fund other businesses down here. So the more I make money from the UK, the more I'm spending, buying food. And this person that I'm buying food from is thanking me for giving me cash, and this is just a very simple way, just very, very simple way in which technology is already helping. But we just need to expand on this, and create more. One way just to create more talent to actually, for example, serve the rest of the world, trade their skill sets with the rest of the world, or provide solutions or global solutions. Not just local solutions. And I'm not, for me, when I'm thinking, I'm not really thinking about local solutions. I'm trying to think about solutions that could help other countries so that they consume too, and then we can generate from other country and pull. With all due respect to all these other countries, we're not trying to steal their money. Don't get it wrong. We're trying to serve them so that we can develop our own countries too. So, and the way to do that is for us to make sure that whatever solution that we're putting out there is a globally viable solution. Whether your skill set as a tech person, your skill set as a tech person is something that a company in Dubai, a company in England, we find valuable. And also your product, if it's a global product, if it's not a localized product just for a product just for Nigerians, just for that only viable in Nigeria, then I think that can actually also help generate revenue. Also, to a localized products, localized solutions to can literally can also help because again infrastructures, like other tech people can build localized solutions when it comes to tech infrastructures for other tech people to serve on the global economy and then help drag more wealth down the country. There is an enormous amount of wealth that can be built with technology. So from that perspective, I do believe technology can solve a lot of the problems that we have. Most especially, the problem of information, access to information, and if you look at NSAS, with all the rest, I'm not a violent person, but I like justice, I like rights, I like those sort of things. So I did like the NSAS happened because that thing it was needed. It's violent, maybe not violence, but that was people needed to express their frustration on the system, and when ESAS happened, it was also powered by technology. It was because of technology that such could happen, because technology opened people's eyes to what happened during the coronavirus. During coronavirus, people in Nigeria were able to learn something about what democracy is by looking at how the other countries handled NSARS. No, sorry, handled COVID-19 and then handled their own protests. I mean, like actually protest against some things during the COVID-19, after the COVID-19 and all of this thing. And people down here were able to learn that they should have some rights as well. They should have some of these things as well. And they learned. And when the information, the amount of information that an average individual in our generation gather per day is like, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's large enough for them to actually learn a lot about the system of the earth. The system, not just Nigeria, the system at other locations. So whatever happened in the UK, US, etc., is educating people down here about their own rights and how things should be, rather than how how these people have kept people in poverty through not providing the right education for them to stand up for their rights. And I saw this myself when I came back to Nigeria, and I saw how a lot of people really did not know much of their right back then, or they basically have normalized normalized bad behavior. Should I call it bad behavior? I don't know what to call it, but they've normalized it that I felt like the right one. I felt like you should be standing. For example, a police officer stopped me on the road. This was my first 3 months of getting back. Stopped me on the road, put a gun, carried a gun on the road, trying to talk nonsense, and he's like, "Let me search you. What school did you go to? What book are you reading? What is that?" And you don't have the right to do that. I asked the person, "Let me see your search warrant." I don't know much about law, but I know that like that some of the things that this person was doing was wrong. But because I was able to say it, I was saying it. My mom was like, "Benny Dake." I don't know if you understand. My mom, mothers. You see, my mother cared more about the gun, about the police officers, about these things than the rights. Like we don't know our right anymore, so we just let anything go, everything go, and because of that, a lot of people are just misbehaving, and the system is as a whole is just crap. And the more you have technology to educate people about their rights, the more you're seeing people standing up for their rights. The more you see people saying, "Okay, We don't want this government anymore. The reason why we can say this today and say we don't want this type of government is because we saw the other countries. We had something to compare to. And the reason why we could see that we had something else to make reference to is because we on Instagram, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and then through that way we see how things work in other countries, and then we see that what they're doing to some of the talent down here or the people in general is not justice at all. So technology has opened people's mind from that angle as well, and that is one way in which technology, from a social perspective, is is indirect, like subconsciously solving the problem. Meaning that it's not that they had that the reason why Facebook was invented or this sort of social media was invented is to create this situation, but instead subconsciously is creating, is building this awareness within people, and then is gradually changing the narrative as a
All
whole.
right. All
So
right. I think I need to visit the question of electricity again, because it's a major problem for us in Africa and in Nigeria in a particular case. Because I repeat again, it is not logical that we should be in the dark like the monkey, like the chicken, like the birds in the air, they fly when there is sun, when there is no sun, they go to bed. That we should be regulating our life like that because we are living in the 21st century. So I was saying before, no, that you see, the first computer that was built was actually a very huge machine that is called a computer. But that's a computer. The same function of the telephone that you can put in your back pocket is the same thing that computer was doing. What I'm trying to
yes,
say with that is that the first electricity generation needed to be very massive. And because we are no longer in the analog age, because we are not trying to tap more into this knowledge, this binary, this one, you just add zero to it, you continue to multiply the zero, then it expands in this digital format. Is it possible that we can have mini generation of electricity? By this, I mean a way that you can use a small app to further reduce the volume and therefore reduce the cost of generating energy and conserving it. A good example would be this electricity that is coming from the sun. Is it possible that we can have a technology to do this so that we don't really need to rely on the Nigerian government? We tell them, okay, you take care of Aso Rock. We can have light. We use our light to do what we want to do with it. I'm saying, how can we use technology to make the solar energy even more affordable to the people? What do you see there?
solar energy more affordable. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see, a lot of what you're saying, you see, it's basically go back to what I said initially. A lot of what you're saying now goes back to the researchers, because you cannot be thinking like this without having to go through intellectual stage of understanding the core principles, and then doing the research and seeing how things work, then put things into production, and then commercialize that. Now you're asking about the science, really. What you everything what for what you can see, is it possible for us to have compact energy in a very small space, and that could serve a larger, just like how we have computers that was once upon a time big, but now everything is now compacted, that is in your back pocket. I would say it is possible. I just told you that every single point in space, for example, has have enough energy to power your house. So, and with the right configuration of microcavities and further research that need to go into that, definitely you should be able to have something that can, something as small as your phone that can power a car. And literally, part of the reason why I'm actually working on quantum computing is this specifically, is because of this specifically, the zero point energy, um, you know, and but for me, however, I'm starting everything from a simulation and software perspective, because one of the ways in which us that are low funded researchers work is testing everything, all your work and everything within a virtual world, and seeing everything working perfectly before you start spending a dime on buying hardwares. buying, of putting things together physically, because you've already tested, saw it in a simulated environment, and now you know that it's going to work. So I definitely would say that it's possible, but I think it's still in the research stage. It's the, that is it. And the other one I said about the photo the microorganisms, that the energy, generating energy from microorganisms, from genetically modified microorganisms, and that is also solar panels. That's a different kind of solar panel. The kind of solar panel that we're using right now, you can only generate a certain amount of energy per square meter, because the amount of energy per time, or power, energy per time is power. But let me just, the amount of energy per time that is. So I was just saying, what I'm working on is basically, one of the things I'm working on. No, I'll say what I'm working on, and the reason why I'm doing this is basically, if you look at what I've said, it's still the same thing when it comes to us working in education and creating an environment for engineers and scientists in Africa to be able to apply themselves rather than go into the marketplace and not have anywhere to apply themselves. We're basically creating a virtual environment for education and for research and for engineering. So you go through, if you want to learn, you come into the virtual world, and the virtual world, you're playing game while you're learning. So education becomes really fun. But if you don't want to play the game and etc., you can actually go into the virtual world, the same virtual world, and do your research within it, and practicalize any form of technology that you want to research, that you want to practicalize. And for me, I'm interested in quantum, and when it comes to the energy side of it, we're talking about the 0 point energy, and how not necessarily the 0 point energy. There's other aspects of energy in quantum in general. A lot of some of the energies that we're using today, they're from understanding how quantum mechanics or quantum information work. But the holy grail of energy in quantum is to be able to tap into that 0 point energy, which is also related to the fact that space and time is expanding is expanding all the time, meaning that at every single point in space is always moving away from each other. And the fact that they're moving away from each other means that there's energy there. And this energy is something you can tap into, and then you can extract, and then use that to supply. So if that be the case, then we can do all of those necessary simulations and how to build all of these simulations and how to build this nanotechnology, because it's nanotechnology, by the way. That means it can fit into your pocket, and that means it can power your car. And we can do all of these simulations within this virtual world, and do our calculations, do all the engineering before we start printing it out. Thank God we have 3D printers, so it makes it easy. So we can literally just do everything within this virtual world, and then do 3D printing, and then publish that and start commercializing that. So and again, what your question is goes back to the need for researchers, for us to be strong, and strong with research, from research all the way to commercialization. Turning research to capital, because the capital is needed to keep everything stable. So um, so yeah so yeah then regarding, there's one more thing that you wanted. You were very particular about solar panel and solar energy. So and I'm saying that solar energy, although it's good, I think Africa can power the rest of the world. Africa is large enough, and it has a lot of sun rays per time, per area, that if we capture all of these things, then we can power the rest of the world. Literally, Africa is blessed in so many ways. Literally blessed, like really, 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 really blessed. But we are not really, we're not tapping into that potential. So the solar panel, the problem with solar panel is that the energy that it can capture per time, meaning that every single time, what we do is it captures energy per time, and then it stores it in the energy bank, in a battery or in an inverter, those sort of things. So the energy that it can capture per time, okay, is dependent on how big the solar energy panel is, because it's dependent on an area. Okay, so that for me, a lot of and it's actually expensive too. So that is not really scalable. in Africa, given the amount of money that an average person is making. And maybe, maybe if we can commercialize it, meaning that if we can have a company in which they're extracting the energy through solar panel, and then they're supplying a small community, instead of using NEPA, they're supplying a small community that pay them directly, the electricity. But that is not really scalable, because they will need to actually have a large amount of land, to make sure that they have a large amount of solar panel, and each square meter of a solar panel is actually very expensive as well. So, and it's also expensive too. If you actually look at the fact that the production process is made in the West. So that means that the amount of money, the supply chain, the money that goes into it shows the value of the labor force. And shows the amount of money of the labor force. So therefore, they're going to sell it at a price that to balance the amount of money they're paying the labor force. And in Nigeria, we're using naira, and naira, if you compare naira to dollar today, is actually expensive, like really expensive. So, and it's sort of like, I'm not sure if you understand what I'm trying to say here. You're making something in the West that people here cannot really afford. The amount of money you pay talent in the West is actually very, very large from the perspective of someone that is making naira in Nigeria. And these are the people that will pay for that solar panel. So, and that doesn't, which is going to be different if you're making solar panel down here in Nigeria, and then you're paying, in an equivalent amount that match with the naira, and then more people will be able to afford these things. But in order for this to happen, the talent themselves need to have the technological know-hows. So it goes back to making sure that we have the intellectuals and the researchers and the technology to provide the right space for them to thrive, and for them to provide the right infrastructures for the entire system to work. If we have the technology people and the scientists and etc., we have better internet. We have the internet to be cheaper too. It will be cheaper, and if we have them, if the Ed 2 is correct, because there's a lot of corruption and things that going on. If we can remove those things, and if we actually collaborate genuinely from our heart, we will be able to move innovations and solutions from the research stage through the engineers, through the commercial, and everybody benefit at the price that everybody down here can afford. It's different if I'm an entrepreneur in Nigeria and I'm trying to afford a talent to work with my company in the UK and US. That's going to be really expensive for me. Then, maybe I'm starting in Nigeria and I have talent in Nigeria. I may be able to, afford that because of the ratio of the naira to dollar or naira to pounds. So, these things come into the energy and the technology environment as a whole. We cannot remove this economics from how it's affecting us technologically.
So, of course, the argument come back to the part that we are trying to avoid, which is the government, no? Because it's only the government that is rich enough that have the money to be able to invest in such infrastructure. But it happens now that they are a rogue, kind of criminal, said criminal, who keep on awarding the contract to themselves. They never do the project because they want to use this as a racket next time to tell you, there is no power, so vote for us so that we fix it. And they will re-award the contract back to themselves again, because they treat Nigerian people. I think the best politician who have been able to capture the real essence of what is happening in Nigeria is Tinubu, and that was the message he said when he was saying, Amala, you will get what is it? You will get moi, or you will get are you hungry? That is how the politicians see Nigerian people. They see them as hungry, degraded, ignorant, nonsense people. So they can do to them whatever they like. Nobody can hold them accountable.
Yeah.
That is a great picture. That we need to keep that one for memory.
Oh, yes. I think they don't only see them like as those, or they don't only see us as, I would say them, us, because I'm Nigerian. So they don't only see us like that. But instead, they're also engineering it. I'm not sure if they're intentionally keeping people impoverished so that they can come back and say this, because they can literally use hunger to control people, and that is literally what they want. They use the hunger to keep themselves in power. So I just now this it goes back to what I'm saying. Like, you cannot have someone that you cannot have a group of people who are genuinely at their core driven by God and be comfortable with that. Because I think what I think, you cannot love God and not love people.
Yeah, it's obvious.
If you cannot love. It's like they're not mutually exclusive.
That's it.
They're
It's
not
true.
mutually exclusive. They're not mutually exclusive. So that's why I think if we really want to like change the country, we also need to stop looking at religion, but look at the person. We need someone that is godly first. You know, um, so someone that is deep rooted in God first. I may be biased because some people don't care about God. I'm talking. I mean, the atheist may think, oh, I'm ignorant. You know, but God too has an idea. Okay, I'm going to say, if God has an idea, keep you in check. It keeps you. If you're strong in that, it keeps you in check in so many things that I know I'll be comfortable. If I know that you're a God person, I'll be comfortable in you telling me the truth, in you leading me, because you would not want to offend God, right? You wouldn't want
Absolutely. I was
to.
suggesting the other day that maybe when we are voting in the politician, when we are swearing them in, instead of using the Quran and the Bible, would you start taking them? If you are coming from maybe from Imo State or from Enugu, we take you to the shrine of Amadioha. That is where we are going to swear you in as the governor. Then you will swear that if you
That
steal
was a
the,
bit too much. I'm not saying that.
that is what I'm suggesting. Because they will
Well,
respect that one because they know
I think
that
that's a
Amadioha
good.
will strike them dead if
I
they
think
eat the money of the
I
people.
think that's a good idea, but
Eh.
I think that's a good idea. I think
Well, I'm saying
I,
that.
no, I actually think that's a good idea. But like, based on my own background and natural bias, and according to what I was taught, is the God that I think is the true God is against those type of movement, Amadioha, and idol worshiping or so. I may be wrong. I'm open. I know that there's some Africans that think, okay, that is wrong. That's colonial mindset and those sort of things. So I'm open-minded, but I'm still sort of
All
like
right, me, I'm one of the people
biased.
that believe that that is a colonial mindset, but it's okay. I think you are right to hold your opinion on that. I'm not going to criticize you for
No,
that.
I'm
But in
actually
my view,
open-minded.
I think
Don't
that
get
is a
me wrong. I'm
colonial
actually
mindset.
open-minded. No, I'm open-minded, but I'm still kind of biased. I'm not sure if you get what I mean here. I'm open-minded that I could be wrong, but I'm still like biased because of my own many years of programming and belief systems and etc. But I'm still sort of like, well, I could also be wrong. And I open my ears to understand the other side that doesn't agree with me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, that is it. Thank you so much for the conversation. But before you go, I want you to talk about the Quantumins. Because I think that is the company that you are working with, right?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Let people understand what that means. Quantumins.
Okay. Okay. Actually, the actual parent company is called Shine Tech. Shine Tech is the one that is just focused on managing talent and making sure talent going into technology succeed. Meaning that we make network with recruiters, investors, other entrepreneurs, and yourself, meaning in talents that want to come into technology. And based on our assessment, we see if you need education or if it's just good for you to just have a network of recruiters to provide the job security, immigration if you want to move around. Because as a tech person, you can literally work from your laptop and still travel around, and that's still fine. So you don't really face the discrimination of bad visa, those things as much as people that just don't have access to technology. And Then when it comes to based on your project, and if things meet some of our thingy, we have some people, some investors in which we form some network with. We're still in discussion with them, so we're just trying to make sure that connect these talents to that have project that they're working on, tech project they're working on to investors. Now that's Shine Tech. So one of the shine, to make sure that we have proofs, we have Shine Tech have some child project or some child company. One of them is Quantumix, the other one is Dreamtos, and the last one is All of Us. So the one I'm actually pretty strong on right now, that's is both two actually, is Dreamtos and All of Us. Dreamtos just focuses on education, meaning is a education agency, is a is an education agency that basically tech education agency that basically provide education to tech talent and take them through their projects and do all of that, and we connect you with the with really good with great teachers. But the way we actually run Dreamtalk is kind of different. We take your money, but we don't take your money. This is how it works. You pay monthly to be part of the community. That's what you're paying for, really, community. The cost is actually comes with the community. But now, every time you make payment for your subscription, you get NFTs, and these NFTs are basically a representation of your investment into the community as a whole. So down the line, as the community gains value or as the system gains value, you can literally come back and trade the NFT back to the at premium price, back to the cash equivalent. So you collect your money back. So you can always come back after learning to collect your initial or your subscription into the community back into you. And at that point, this part of the reason you may want that is because things have the price of the NFTs have gone up, and it's time you want to cash out. So it's sort of like an investment, and we sort of like acting like an education bank. So you come in, you learn, but you're also saving, trusting the community that the community is going to grow. Now, why is the community going to grow, and why is it? We are basically gamifying education. Simple. So we gamify STEM education, in which you come into within a game, all of the learning process, all of the learning process, the education. So as you're playing the game, which is kind of, as you're playing the game, when I say game, I'm talking about PS3, PS4, PS5 kind of game, like God of War, adventure kind of game. You're writing, you're decoding, you're reprogramming some hardware, some AI systems, some robots that you're meant to battle against, or some other players that you're meant to work with. And you have your teachers to take you into a 3D virtual class, and then you'll actually have a 3D experience of the classes within the virtual world, and rather than a flat screen experience. And the teachers are the teacher's body language and etc. Is collected, and then is basically transferred retarget into this avatar, and then you can see how they are moving, how the teacher is teaching you. Because these are actual people, by the way, and then that's where the lesson goes in. So, and your NFT basically means that you own different part of this metaverse. I must put it like that, or you own different part of this 3D environment. So, as this 3D environment, or different avatars, or different art form gain value, or different script gain value, your own NFT to gain value, and then you can resell that, you can trade that. But in order for you to, you can trade that normally. But in order for you to come back to us as a bank to retrieve from us, you need to meet some certain conditions. And what are the certain conditions? These certain conditions is dependent on your own personal goal. Meaning, why do you, from the first day you're coming in with us, you will sign, we have the administration team, which is part of Shine Tech, to say, okay, what is your tech journey like? If you remember our discussion today, we talk about, me getting to know, not me, I mean the system getting to know you, and getting to find a way to actually make sure that we're tailored for you. And that means that, are you interested in entrepreneurship, building a project, getting an investor, or getting a job, or those sort of things? And then through that, we're able to, what do you want to learn? Data science, artificial intelligence, software programming, game development, or those sort of things. So once you tell us these things, then we already have a pipeline of the journey, but based on your own also your requirement is then readjusted into your own journey. So based on how you complete this journey, okay, the NFTs is going to unlock for you. So as you're completing the journey, your ability to come back with that NFT and then um, get cash equivalent for your NFT at the premium price at that point in time, it will unlock for you, so you can always come, you can come back and then cash out. But if you don't want to cash out, which is a good idea, because you believe that our system or the old metaverse or the old education system is going to gain value, you can just leave the NFT with us and keep playing until you see that, okay, yes, it's just like investing. When you're ready to say, okay, this thing is, I think I have maximum and I've unlocked these NFTs to be, I've unlocked my ability to be able to cash out these NFTs, then you can come in and cash out when you're ready. If you don't want to cash out, it's fine, up to you until you're ready. But the point is this, the journey is based on your own goal, and the requirement is based on you meeting these goals that you say that you want to do. So meaning, for example, if I have a project and this set of projects that I want to do that we already said, let's say I want to build um, let's say there's someone right now that said he wants to build a restaurant management software. And this restaurant management software, we have smaller components in it. So based on the smaller components, as you're unlocking these smaller components, you unlock different parts of the NFTs, which is your own goal, which is your own project, which is which is your own end goal. So as you're moving along this journey, then the NFT, since if you completed that task and that one is a success, that the NFT corresponding to that particular task unlock for you, so you can now collect your cash back. But it's up to you to say that you want to come to us to collect that the cash equivalent. But this is something that you always have opportunity to do. You can trade your NFT to the community whenever you want. That one is always open. But to come to us as a bank to give you back the cash equivalent, then you need to meet these things first. But to trade with other people is up to you. And it's up to them to buy that, knowing that this is his journey. And that's sort of like a way for people to invest in talents for us. Because our goal is talent development, talent, I'm always thinking about ways in which I could help talent with technology. It goes back to my problem that you should be looking at yourself as a solution to other people. I want to be a solution to talent. I want to help talent. I want to empower talent. I want to do it, that's where my money comes from. I'm going to be happy. See, I feel happy in my life knowing that I am living my life to help other people. I'm making money from the success of other people. Now, for me, that is for me, a happy, I'm happy that that's my own source of income. Now, and so now I'm not done with just explaining how our system works and thingy. So in general, that is the that is the idea, and it's sort of like and it's also because the thing is you own different part of the system, and that's because that is where these are the emerging technology and where the idea of technology is going to, thanks to Web 3.0. Okay. Web 3.0 is what allows us to be able to do this.
What is Web 3.0? Can you talk more about that? I think some people want to also understand that.
Oh God, this is a big Web 2.0. Okay, everything is centralized, meaning that Facebook is basically have a central party running Facebook, and you are just a consumer. You don't have any, whatever they want to do with your data and etc. It's up to Facebook to do it. But Web 3.0, you have ownership of the entire thing too. So you own part of the back end, meaning one is decentralized. That's one of the core qualities of Web 3.0. But the other, decentralized, meaning that meaning anybody can join this network and become a server on a network. By that, oh God, I don't want to use too much terminologies, and I want to boil this down. And the way I could put it down is this: it's like, okay, I found it. Nigeria is a good example in the sense that we have the federal government, in which controls every other the whole country, basically governs everything. So that actually, and that's part of the thing that led to the toxicity of the nation in general. that led to some of the problems that we have in the problem. And that would have been the old system we call Web 2.0. Facebook is the central government. Instagram, that is, that's the central government right there. Because we're living sort of like in a technocracy, in a technocratic society right now. Tech people are gaining more power than the politicians, to be honest. And if that be the case, you really do not want to repeat the same type of things that you did in the physical world with the political government, with the politicians, also with the tech people. It could be worse in that case, because these people are getting directly into your mind. Because we get addicted to technology, and based on the way they engineer it and the psychology engineering behind the technology, they have influence. But in order for you to stop some of these things from happening, you need to decentralize the power. For example, back to Nigeria situation, ensure that not only federal government have power at all, but instead the state government and the local government too, there is a power that's managed by everybody, and also all deep down to the family. Having and everybody has their own, everybody have their own say, and based on what you agree, voting system, then things can work together. And in Web 3.0, the voting system would be the likes of proof of stake, to prove that something is true, or proof of history, or there's proof of stake, the proof of history. I can't remember the last one. But now, what am I trying to get at here? And that helps with security. That helps with ensuring that there is less corruption within the system, and you can trust the system better. You can trust that your data is not being used against you. You can trust that. And this is actually even best for when it comes to financial systems, banks. Because when it comes to banks, it's just an agreement that, okay, money, when it comes to cash, we're agreeing that this certain amount of value within society. But if you're agreeing on that, and all of this power of controlling money, which is affect people's daily life, is actually controlled by a central party, then you cannot trust that this central party is not using these things against you. It's not. You cannot trust that this central party are not engineering some structures or some things in place that you may not see it, but they're using it to gain more power, more money against you, and etc. But with a decentralized system, everybody see what is going on. Everybody can become a bank that have access to what is going on inside the bank. And that is one of the main, for me, advantage of Web 3.0. And
right. Thank you so much for that. Certainly, we're going to come to that next time. Now, briefly, I want you to, in a few seconds, tell people how they can connect with you, how they can benefit from your service. Briefly, please go ahead.
I think I've described how they could benefit from the service. If just come in, if you're looking to upskill into technology. So we have the service for 14 plus, 16 plus, and 25 plus when it comes to Dream Toss. For 14 plus, meaning that you have a kid that need extra tuition into technology, into science, technology, engineering, mathematics. If you're in Nigeria that is trying to prepare your kid to be able to study in UCAS, meaning study in European University, we have full experience for that. That will guide that will give extra tuition to sit A-levels exams, O-levels exams, get good grades in WAEC. So we have a set of teachers for that. And if you're in your 18 plus, that is trying to get extra tuition, again, I'm looking real, as the mind behind this. Everything that I'm being guided around is how can we support, as a teacher, how can I empower and build Einsteins? If you look at the goal is actually to be an army of Einsteins, full stop. I'm going to be honest with you. We want to build an army of like super, super smart people, full stop. In tech, STEM. I know that's arrogant for me to say, please pardon me. And we have the 18 plus, and if you need extra tuitions in physics, mathematics, in tech and sciences, sciences, engineering, mathematics, and in STEM, we have the set of agents, that take care of that from a gamified perspective too. So if your kid is looking to build tech, to learn some tech, to start to build games, because games is actually a really good way to motivate kids into tech, because they're playing. Kids will play game on autopilot. You don't need to force them. You literally do not need to force kids to play game. So why can't we then, why can't we then start to use what they would do or even pay for? This is it. Many kids will take out of their own lunch money, starve themselves to play game, but they will not do the same thing to buy books. So, um, so the idea that if you have a kid that is looking to, if you have a kid in which that is looking into gaming, we can start making this kid more productive and even on the, get higher grades in schools in general through gamification, through using game and teaching him or her how to build games and using that to teach the person mathematics, physics, engineering, and sciences in general. So that's for 14 plus, 18 plus. But for similarly for this 25 plus, meaning for professionals, some of the people that we have actually right now are professionals. Like they upskilling. We have more professionals than we have the students, to be honest with you, and are upskilling into technology because they understand how the technology market is growing, especially the life of data science, AI, artificial intelligence, and how they're applying in financials. Some of the people we have right now, we don't have a lot of people, I have to be honest, but some of the people are from banks. They currently work in a bank and they're trying to come into technology. And we're upskilling them into technology. And a good example is someone that studied physics at university and is now around 45. He studied physics at university and has been working in the banking industry, banking and finance industry for over 10 years. And now that data science and tech is coming up, is emerging. He's like really excited. Why? He said he's not moving from sciences, from physics. People in the wrong industries, and they're not happy in that industry. Especially those people who studied STEM in school, but when they graduate, because there is not a lot of jobs, especially in Africa, for people in STEM back then. So they're moving to things like financing, politics, and things that they're not really happy doing, but they just do because they need to make ends meet. That now that we have tech coming up, it is time for these people. It's okay for these people. It doesn't matter what age to come back into this because there's opportunity for everyone. So there's some of the people we have, they're literally in their 30s, 45s in banking industry that they're now really excited coming back into their passion. There are people that love physics, but they left physics for banking, and now it's coming back into data science because now they can do physics every day and make money from doing physics and mathematics and all of it without, usually it used to be if you study physics and mathematics and those sort of things, people think you're just going to end up becoming a teacher, especially in these countries. But now there is opportunity if you study these things, and it's okay for you to move back into it now because there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of finance money in it.
All right.
All
So,
right, sure.
what would be your final statement in just 2 or 3 seconds?
It just I've been talking a lot. My final statement, yeah, I'm literally just trying to sell. That's not my final statement. I'm just kidding. I don't have any, the world is your oyster, but the community moving together and putting people first and being a good spirit for me, is something to aspire to be for everybody, not just for myself. But yes.
All right. Thank you so much, my brother. I really appreciate the time. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewanfo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.